Breakfast with Friends.
Yes, it is. And we say a very good morning, Nico. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
It's a pleasure, and good morning to all the listeners.
So we got a couple of questions. Kick off with that first question, please.
Yeah. So earlier in the week, Mr. Nico, a listener in Cambodia says that the petrol price dropped, but our price went up a few cents. Do you know why that is?
Yes, I feel like I'm back at university with Economics 101 again. The price of fuel is really dependent on a couple of factors that kicked in this particular situation. The first, it's got to do with supply and demand, and it's got to do with where your country sources petrol. Now, as we all know, there are a couple of countries where there is it's a war zone, and some of those countries supply fuel. So it means if your country where the fuel is being bought from is affected by the supply and demand, then that price goes up. And South Africa buys from some countries where there is a war going on right now. Okay. Whereas Cambodia does not necessarily buy from the same source. So that would be one of the reasons for the difference. In addition to that, when we buy, we pay in dollars. So the dollar-rand exchange rate on that day, because we calculate the price on 1 day per month. Not every country does that. Some countries literally will calculate the price on the minute the fuel is bought. Okay. So they will do that calculation 20 or 30 times a day. So that also becomes a factor that affects the price. And then also in our case, because of our history of apartheid, fuel was always a difficult source product. And so we stuffed a lot of things into the price of fuel because of our political background. And when apartheid ended, we never changed the formula.
Oops.
Okay.
So although the government has been promising to review the formula, that has never happened. And by the way, if they were to recalculate the formula, the price of our fuel would drop by between 4 and 8 rand a litre.
Whoa.
So there is a lot of changes that can happen if we learn to make more noise with the people who're supposed to calculate.
How do we make more noise, Nico?
It's really just by hammering people. And we have access to politicians. It doesn't have to be the actual politician who makes who has the power, but if we talk to our people in authority, they know who to talk to.
Okay.
And our president has agreed that this is unfair. It's not like he doesn't know it, and he has agreed it's unfair for more than 4 years already. Now it's a matter of motivating him to make the decision. But our fuel price just happened on that day to be at an unfortunate day for us. And so the price of 25 cents was added to the fuel.
Sure.
But it's nonsense. We are paying an artificial price. Just to give you an idea, if today I go and buy South African fuel in Botswana, I'm going to pay 5 rand less a litre than I'm paying here for our fuel, the same fuel.
The same fuel that gets refined here, that gets
everything. So it's an artificial price. And we should be making more noise as South Africans because we're being gouged unnecessarily. So.
Yeah. And it has a negative knock-on effect onto everything.
Everything. The price of bread is affected by fuel. The price of getting your kids to school is affected by fuel. Everything is affected.
Getting to work, etc.
Exactly. Well, staying on that note, though, Mr. Nico, and also in the season that we are currently going into, Christmas time, we see that prices of meat just goes like insane. Can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, for this one, we can't blame government.
Okay.
And it's nice that they're off the hook. I don't believe it's true that prices go up. I think what does happen, if you do your Christmas shopping for meat 2 days before Christmas, you are going to go up.
Okay.
How we do it as a family, we do our shopping for meat in the next 3 days. And we know what kind of meat we want, and we know that we can buy our meat from Woolworths or Pick n Pay or Checkers, Spar, or we can go to some of the independent butchers.
Local butchers, yeah.
And last year, Woolworths was cheaper than any of the other suppliers.
Wow, interesting, eh?
Because this time of the year, they're buying in millions of rands worth of meat. And if they can get that off their shelves quickly, then they can buy more meat.
Okay.
And Woolworths gave a better deal.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting there with your calculators and doing some shopping around. But you can get it a lot cheaper now than you're going to get it if you wait until December. So
Okay.
it's just a matter of shopping at the right time.
Okay.
And remember, for some of the meat, those suppliers have been buying in for weeks already, keeping it in cold storage and now releasing it. So this is the time you go and get your Christmas meat, as it were.
Okay, very good. And then as we wrap up, Nico, some other shopping tips, especially as we head into this Christmas season.
Well, there are a couple of things that we do as a family. And one of the things we are very aware of is that while we are relatively well off as a family, there are other people who are not. So when we do our Christmas shopping, there are certain items we can buy from charity stores, like Nazareth House.
Okay.
We can buy from Lions, and particularly things like the Christmas puddings and things.
Yeah.
So that not only are we getting a very good product, but by buying it from that particular organization, they're able to use those funds to benefit communities that
Brilliant.
Otherwise would have
Brilliant.
a poorer Christmas. And I think that for us has been a principle that we have followed for many years right now. And then even things like pep stores. If you remember, there are people who've got to choose between buying Christmas gifts or buying a uniform. And you can go
A
to
school
Pep
uniform, yeah.
and saying, I would like to donate this amount of money. It must go to a family that have lay-byed school clothes.
Brilliant.
And they will then, through their computer system, send an SMS to a family and saying, if you go to this Pep stores right now, you can get your lay-by immediately.
Sure.
And that'll make a difference to that
Massive.
particular family.
Yeah.
And that's the way that you can help other people celebrate what for us is a special time.
Come on, people. Let's do that. Let's do something different. Instead of buying those gifts that you're like, is this really going to make a difference in somebody's life? You know, somebody that you know. And I know people like that I struggle. Like, I often chat to my wife. I'm like, how? What are we going to buy this person for their 50th or their 60th? I've got no idea, because they've got everything that they need. Why not turn it into a situation where you're saying, I've made a donation to this clothing initiative or to that NPO or something like that. It can really make a big difference in somebody who's really struggling. Nico, always great chatting to you. Thank you for answering our questions. We appreciate you, sir.
Pleasure.
There we go. Nico Kleynhans,